A very good evening to all of you. Greetings from Gandhigram. It's indeed an honor for me to join the global conclave on advanced research and ranking modality. I am with my one of my research scholars, Srimati Neetu from Gandhigram Rural University, respected Dean and Head Department of Education, University of Kerala, Professor Bindu, Dr. Samir Babu, the coordinator who has introduced me and familiarized about the other speakers and all. I am very thankful. All the distinguished dignitaries and esteemed participants of the Zoom meeting from world over. My dear students and research scholars. The present session is on extension and research. They have asked me to speak on the universities as centers of extension. We shall deal with, in this session, extension as a component of higher education, concept and principles of extension education, extension research nexus. Even we will discuss some of the models in education and how to popularize the education components in the universities of India, especially how to make these universities as centers for extension education. So this is, I think, this is the way I would figure out the session. First one, let me see to the higher education. That is, we know that the universities have to respond nowadays to the needs, demands, and challenges of the 21st century knowledge society. In addition to the traditional function of teaching, training, and research, now the universities have to equip and provide the qualified manpower, and even they have to, that you have to endorse that qualified manpower to the society, as well as they have to empower the society in which they operate. And the universities are also provided with the accreditation and or they are provided, I will say, or they have brought under the structure of this accreditation and ranking system, not only in the world but in even in every country, including India. And we will consider. Let me come to the first PPT as the goals and missions of higher education. That we can consider three-dimensional or three aspects for higher education. First, to advancement of scientific knowledge in the field, in each and every discipline or in the area or the field they are working. The advancement of scientific knowledge is very, very important. Thus, we will consider as the first mission of the university system. Second one, of course, the sustainable development of the society. We cannot ignore the development of the society, and all our research training programs should cater to the needs of sustainable development. And thirdly, I will say the harmonious development of the learners. The learners coming to the portals of the university, and also the learners waiting outside the university system, that we have to bring their harmonious development. This is a issue we are going to discuss today. Even if the people around, we have to shape their life, shape their career. Can we do that through the university education? So I will consider these three: advancement of scientific knowledge, sustainable development of society, and harmonious development of the learners or the individuals as the goals and missions of any higher education. And the three main components of higher education, you must have already discussed all these components very well, and the accreditation processes also, the teaching, research, and extension. And the university extension, as you know, it was, the extension as a component. It is a trinity now, and we are thinking that, most of the universities, they specialize or they give importance only to the first two. The academic programs and the teaching learning process go on in the universities, but and they all do much importance to research and research projects and all and research publication. But they no, usually they ignore or they marginalize the third component, that is one of the most important component or dimension, I will say, in university or even higher education is extension. And as you know, it was this university extension was originated in England way back in 1866. It was James Stewart who coined this term, and he brought out this concept of university education, and he is considered as the father of university education programs in the world. And once he coined the term and conceived the concept as to signify educational innovation. He even preferred that the concept like this, educational innovation, that extends educational advantages of the university to the people at large. This is an innovation in the education, and the advantages of the universities should go to the people at large, wherever they live or wherever they work. This is, I will say, the spirit of extension. It continues today also. And it was the Cambridge University which initiated the university extension in 1867 with a view to take the knowledge and practices of the university to the community around. Soon the universities of London and then Oxford University, and in USA, Chicago University has introduced the extension program in the later part of the 19th century. But historically, it was primarily the extension in universities or colleges was primarily meant to the fields of agriculture and home economics for improving, two aspects, that is the farm and the family. Or even still it continues. Most of the extension, it is done by agriculture universities, and a few universities do it in India apart from agriculture also. And India is known for extension or for imparting its traditions, values, its ethical values, its customs, and even technical know-how. They impart or they hand it over through the process of extension from the very beginning. And it was Rabindranath Tagore, 1908, he initiated rural development through youth organization. Later, Rural Reconstruction Institute was formed by him in Shantiniketan in 1921. And even we cannot, as I am coming from Gandhigram, we cannot ignore the contribution of Gandhiji. He started the Sevagram project initiated in 1920 in Wardha for social, educational, economic renaissance of the villages. He has told for the reconstruction, not only for the reconstruction, for the renaissance of the villages. And the program included promotion of small-scale industries, rural extension programs, basic and adult education, women upliftment, rural industries management, and awareness related to health, hygiene, and sanitation. Of course, even several universities, including the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Bombay, and the Jamia Millia, have all contributed in a high-level extension program they are offering. Not only they are offering mainly to the urban population in India. And it was in 1978 that the Universities Grants Commission, UGC incorporated extension in its policy framework for the development of higher education. And they stated that the University Grants Commission, that is, extension is trinity of teaching, research, and of teaching, research, and extension. This is the three aspects of education is mentioned by even by Kothari Commission. And in University Grants Commission, that is in 1978, incorporated the extension into its policy framework for higher education, especially for collegiate and university level education in India. And it was worded that time, if the university has to discharge adequately the responsibilities to the entire education system and to the society as a whole, it must assume extension as a third important responsibility. That's the word they have used, the third important responsibility with the same status as teaching and research. We have to now think whether we are giving the equal status to extension while they have recommended it is way back in 1978. And this extension program or component in the Indian universities, they are further promoted by the National Adult Education Program, NAEP, by Government of India. They wanted to, the universities help for the implementation and even to undertaking a number of programs in the various groups like adult, for the women and all they have made this national movement. Then now let us come to the scope of extension education. I will say that extension, as I already mentioned, being the third dimension, it is meaningful, sustained rapport. It has to promote that meaningful and sustained rapport between the universities and community around. This we have already emphasized from its historical heritage also. But and extend the knowledge and other institutional resources also. That's the another point coming up. It is not only the knowledge, the resources of these universities or the colleges can also be extended to the communities if needed. And it can gain insights and can contract, and there can between knowledge resources and socio-cultural realities. They can bring an integration between the scientific knowledge and the socio-cultural realities. Even some of the knowledge need to be updated. And this another scientific knowledge is there, but they are not reaching the masses. And the socio-cultural reality is different, and even they are not in a position to accept the scientific knowledge. These things have to be looked into when we practice extension. And it is designed to bring about planned changes and development among the people. This is I have taken from another emeritus professor, Professor Redap Reddy from SV University, Sri Venkateshwara University, Tirupati. He has rightly mentioned it is designed to bring planned changes and development among the people. And it is knowledge-based, people-centric, developmental-oriented program through the portage of, and it can be, offered through the portals of higher education institutions, both colleges and universities. And now, when we have this extension program, when we present this extension program, it should be people-centric. We cannot make it our subject or centric way where we are when we are imparting to the students. It may become more subject-centric or examination-centric. But when we make it into an extension program, it has to be people-centric and it should be, I will say, development-oriented. It should address the needs and problems of the people. And we can extend it if we have a mind or a system. The universities can extend this knowledge to the masses. There is no doubt about it. Now let's just go to the principles of extension. When we have this extension program, because it will become a joint venture with the university institutes, the teachers, the students, even the research scholars and all, and with the community, that we have to link all these systems. This system with the community system, we have to link with all this, even incubator, I will say that all these people will come together, they will join together, then only the extension will become successful or effective. And for this, may have to follow certain points of extension, or even the guidelines or principle for extension education. Many have given some 10 or 12 points, but I will say 4 or 5 points I will bring in. And these are very, very important. First is the principle of diffusion and grassroots knowledge. We are sending this knowledge to the grassroots, and we have to diffuse this knowledge very well, because it may not be the way we are diffusing it in a college, in a classroom, but we have to see it, we are sending this knowledge to the grassroots level. Second one is the principal integration of scientific and indigenous knowledges. We, in the university system, we may develop through research, through our academic discourses, we may have a, the scientific knowledge in physics or chemistry or health sciences and all. But we may have to take there can be an indigenous knowledge system which we people follow. So we may have to integrate these two, and we have to bring a balance between the scientific and indigenous knowledge system. Then participation and dissemination. We should be ready to participate, and that dissemination part is very, very important. And the participation, how you can get into the this, you are a participant observer, because if you are a participant member in the society and all, they should accept you, and that they should be, you should be very, very thorough in your communications or discourses. We may not be able to use that type of language, scientific languages and all, or vocabulary when we reach the community. We have to, so that we have to be very, very careful in participating and disseminating knowledge. Also, our leadership and adaptability is very, very important to taking decisions and what is to be done at what time, how to coordinate it. Even sometimes the knowledge system, we have to adapt it to the needs of the society. Finally, I will say, many of this, I have seen, we in the universities and colleges take up this extension program, but we will leave it there. We have to see the impact assessment. Whenever we are making an environmental awareness or environmental conservation or protection, we have to see its impact, and we have to see whether that program is empowering the people, or they are also understanding it well, and they are also becoming decision makers or knowledge merchants along with us in the they are. So that development process should take place. That's why impact and assessment, principle of impact assessment and empowerment is very much needed. Now, the role, let us see the roles. If this is the extension practices, the role of the teachers or the teaching community is very crucial. Where it is vice chancellor or the deans or the professors or the scholars, they have a very crucial role in initiation and even devising the project and extending that project in the extension process. And they should become the kingpin between the universities and the institution. Nobody should leave that it is not my duty, it is the other's duty. I am doing only research. I am here to teach. If that is coming, then we are misusing that role. That there should be a way of encouraging for all the teachers, and they will become critical personnel to take this knowledge from the university to the society. And the teachers can motivate, direct, and accelerate the extension process. If they are lethargic, or if they are neglecting, or if they leave it to, many places I have seen they will leave it to the students, or the scholars will take over. So that should be a vital miss that we are not having that that monitoring or the project orientation properly. So here I will say that the teachers have a role, and they should assist, guide, and the students or all the participants in the extension project, and establish rapport with the community, and they should bring the community and the and the student community together, and they should impart curricular knowledge, whatever we are going to practice or we are needed for this community. We have to it has to be passed through, or the we that the teachers or the faculty members should take the lead in imparting that curricular knowledge. And of course, we can test them. And finally, that we should follow the principles of andragogy and pedagogy. Andragogy means the people are adults. We cannot, teach them, or we cannot train them like our children and those school or colleges. We have to go and understand it and adult principles in our teaching learning process. And also we can use pedagogy, that we can use that self-learning system and even the electronics and the digital platforms and all. There we should make use of that pedagogy well. And if the teachers can empower themselves, and this I will say, this type of a capacity building is needed in all, especially in the colleges and the universities, yeah, for improving or bringing up this the third dimension, that is extension education, extension education, to make it very effective and successful. Then let's go to the what are the how the students have to participate in the extension program. Many extension programs, sometimes I will say, or some students will accept, or they will become volunteers, but the others will ignore. And many of them, they say, we have the examination, we have the project work, we have the assignment. So, and they will prevent themselves in taking part in the extension program. That's not this. All the students should come together and they should work out this extension program, and should take up extension in their area of study. That's very, very important. And home science student, they should have home science and nutrition, food and nutrition practices through extension in that area. Chemistry, physics, or health sciences, that should impart that knowledge to this. So that I will say, extension is a multidisciplinary subject. It is not one department in a university do it. It is not that way. It is diffused in all universities. Every department should have they should take up their extension program, whether botany, zoology, chemistry, biochemistry, biophysics, all these departments, computer science, all of them should have their area of extension program. And they should know the principles and methods of extension. Principles I have already mentioned. Methods, if time permitting, I will bring it at the end. And they should understand and discuss the problem. Even that students from these departments, they should not go and do. It is not that we prepare them and all. It is they have to. It is in a flexible approach and in a very transparent way. They also learn from this extension program. They develop skills and to conduct programs well, and how to manage the adult or the community system well. So then even they can discuss this their problem with the teachers, and teachers should be experts, or an expert person with experts should be there as a mentor teacher when they do this extension program in the villages or the rural areas, or even very remote tribal areas and all. If we go, these mentor teachers or experts are necessary to handle the situation and make use of the problems of that extension. We will get a number of issues, problems related to that people. We have to bring that from the to the lab. So this I will say that there are two aspects. One is that students are become part. They will become a party to take this knowledge from lab to land. They know, and from their labs or their experiments, their book, their knowledge through different channels, whatever they're from the research and academic programs and all, from the land, from the lab, they will take it to the land. But at the same time, they should also bring that land to lab also. That both the LLs are needed. A lab to land and land to lab. That's what even in Gandhigram and all we used to insist. You understand the problem. If they have these health issues, or if they have this economic problem, if they have the social issues, you bring it to the university and discuss in your research or platforms and all. So you make use of the problems from there for your research and development program. And there is, I will say, there is a very close nexus between extension and research. So this is very, very important. Even I will say this is it is a two-way channel which which help each other and which is needed for the for the other component. One component will become deprived if you do not have the contribution, the valuable contribution from the other. So both are mutually interrelated. I will say extension research linkage has to be very cordial and productive. That is you should not leave the extension to the extension people from the extension department or to a number of students and all. It is the cordial that all the research scientists and all, they will find time and they should bring in design this extension program, and it should be productive. We should see whether it is going to be effective or not. And if there are some deficiencies, we have to arrive at other ways to improve it also. And extension services require a continuous flow of information from through research. In research in every area, they bring up, even for pandemic, we are bringing out, constraining measures, awareness building measures, and even that, intervention or vaccination strategies, that should be informed to the people, and that that continuous flow of scholarship should be there, and they should be transferred to the community. But at the same time, extension service can provide scholars and institutions with the themes of research. So this is mutually, this is honored. One, we take the scientific research and the information to the people, and from people we get the themes or the problem for our own research. Even the research questions, we can raise these questions in the field itself, and we can take it to our lab or to our department and comfortably conduct the research on that. Extension takes scientific knowledge of research people in various areas and carry the burning problems of the people to the universities for scientific analysis. This is the thing or the spirit with which I have mentioned there, that both are, scientific knowledge of research to people in remote areas and carry their problems and issues to the university for scientific analysis and research. If time permitting, I will bring up some of our experiments which we have done and which have become very effective in the rural, in the service villages of Gandhigram Rural University, where I am working now. Now we will go to the approaches for extension, for extension. Then I think there are so many approaches which we have used, or even some of these approaches we have used, and some of them we have made it, we have used to integrate a number of approaches together also. First one is, of course, the individual approaches. We may have to, that is the counseling. When we are, making an individual or a family or a community, we have to approach the individuals and identify their problem. And even the counseling services, the placement services, or the empowerment of each and every youth in the village, that all become as the individual part of it. Then sometime we may not be able to do all these individual approaches, and it is not needed. We can go for group or collective approach. We can have training program, orientations, then we can have debates, discussions and all. As a group we can take it. Either small group or a large group we can have. Manageable groups we can have. Even we can have the third one, that is the mass approach. Nowadays, for the pandemic and all, we are mostly using the mass approach through media. We make use of the medias or the online approach, we reach each and every individual or homes with the information and the latest information, and how to make use of that information for their life. That's very, very important. And it's the mass approach. At a global level, it can have state level or a national level we can have. Even we have, when we used to have this type of a mass approach when we were working in Northeastern Hill University. That university has 7 states under its under its distribution. So we have to make use of this extension program, and even sometime it will be adopted program for Nagaland, Mizoram different, Arunachal different, but we wanted to reach this extension program for all the 7 states. Then we can have integrated approach in extension. Integrated, we can have the, we can use this face-to-face or blended methods, or we can have now it's online approaches, or we can integrate all this and we can approach the people. Then integrated approach, don't think that approach has come up during only the COVID period. Even earlier, we used to have this integrated approach very well. Sometimes we used to use this mass media and all to reach it. Even I will give one example which we have done. That is the commercial radios. One of my students, Paul Bhaskar, he has done very good research, and he has worked with this community radio integrated approach to reach the masses for education, for technology orientation and all. So women empowerment, youth empowerment, skill enrichment program, the integrated approach is very good. Even we can have the project approach. Students can make this as a project and take it up, and through project surveys, project interventions and all, we can extend this knowledge to the people, and cost sharing approach. This is, I mentioned it because even I had a discussion with the Redaparedi, he was telling universities may not be in a position to fund all your extension program. So we can have a cost sharing. The community or the voluntary association, voluntary agencies and all, even they will come and they will share the cost, or even the even the cost of production, the cost of dissemination and all, or conducting seminars in the villages and all. It will be a shared approach. And even nowadays we are going for cyber extension. We use the cyber space, social media and internet and all for extension program. If time permitting, we will come back to cyber extension at the end. Now we will go into the research in extension. As we have seen, many of this, most, or I will say, most of the social science research methods can be used in extension practices or research. But I will say, some of the valuable approaches which we have found, and many of the researchers have also advocated, or they have mentioned these were the best method for extension program, especially at the university level. One is the participatory action research. Students, we participate, we take up, we conduct some immediate action, researchers, and implement that in the villages. So it is very fast, very immediate, and it is related to the problem at hand. The felt needs of the people are taken up, and they are brought, and they are researched, and the strategies are worked out and sent back to them. And another one is Robert Chambers, of course, the participatory rural appraisals. You can have, instead of your questionnaire and other things, you can have the appraisals with the people. They will disclose their things. So, timeline, and they are, they have this transact walks and all. You can have a walk with them, or have a, discussion with a cup or a cup of tea and all. So that such participatory appraisals are very valuable, and our students should be encouraged to use this rural, or even sometime UNESCO and all, even they are using that participatory appraisals in studies in the slums and urban areas also. And another method which we have focused in education and psychology and all nowadays, the focus group discussion. This is a discussion method when we have that we focus that thing and we work out with with the people in the village in small focus groups or small groups, so we can discuss and come up with their strategies. And even sometime a behavior change or modification is needed, that can also happen, and valuable information and even supplementary information may come up with a focus group. Even focus group can be used nowadays using telephones or other media also. So that's possible, and large focus group discussion are also coming up nowadays. But it will be, if it is 10 to 12 people, and it will be an adequate one. Sometime I will say, when in some of the extension programs, with the schools and all, with the parent groups and all, we are making the focus group very effective. Then of course case studies and case analysis. I think there is a session on that. Take up the case as that village or in any, if there is a water problem, or if there is any case or industries or child labor, we can make it as a case analysis. And of course, field surveys are often used method in extension research. And there, I will say, we have to use these exploratory surveys more. Many of these issues and problems we may not be able to understand. So the first level, we have to go to these exploratory surveys. Then we can bring in, on the basis of that exploratory surveys, we can have social intervention. Whatever intervention, health, mental health, or psychosocial development, or technological advancement, whichever is needed from the exploratory surveys, we can go to intervention studies. But we should not leave it with the intervention studies only. We have to make their impact analysis. That how they have taken up, or how they have, whether they have accepted it, whether they are using it, or whether they wanted any modifications. This all should come in this impact studies also. Then now I will come. If there is time, I will go back to some of the other comments. Otherwise, I will come up with this last one. That is how, as my topic is on the promotion of extension education in the universities and colleges. We have to look into very sincerely what's wrong with the extension programs. There is a feeling that many time extension is not very effective, or it is a marginalized type of a program in the universities. They are not getting the threats, or they are not getting the funds. They are not having the adequate manpower to run this extension program. This scenario should be changed. I will say the first case that will have extension education courses should be there. I don't want only an extension department to start this extension program. It should be attached to each and every department, whether it is in the language, English language, or whether it is in history, or whether it is social science, any other social sciences, or computer sciences, or in biological sciences. There, these extension programs. Even in Gandhigram, we have designed many courses. They can go for home science extension. They can go for the rural development extension. That they follow the rural development, and also then additionally they study this extension program. So they get a master's degree. So that's why I wanted to have, especially if we are going to implement the 4-year integrated program, extension will become a worthy course in this multidisciplinary designs. So then extension research should be, and then more and more funding is needed. And even we have seen that the framework is nowadays the framework is not that sturdy. And even the extension tools and designs are very weak. So this should go very sturdy designs, very effective programs. We should make extension research, especially at the doctor level. And even it should be thematically very relevant and very advanced. Design should be used, and the analysis of the data and the interpretations and all should come up very well. So that research extension and doctoral programs should be encouraged in the universities, and their quality also should be enhanced. It's not that I will go for a program in a extension or lifelong learning or adult education department and earn a degree. It should not be like that. It should be related to that knowledge in that area. And then you should work out the extension practices through that research. And the models and designs can be worked out in this research and doctoral program. And extension resources and media labs. There is a need. Many resources are not there. That many as we need. That even many universities or they do not have the resources for extension program. And even multimedia labs are required. That even studios are required, and even computer labs are required. Advanced softwares are required for extension. So this extension resources and medias we have to look into, and I have the list of resources. Even if you want, we can take it up later. Then patent for extension service. This is missing. Many of them they make use of it. They've come up with some extension program, then they will leave it. But if the patency is there, that extension practices, not only the practices, even if they develop a models, then we can give that patent that extension. Now we are giving for research, of course, or even we are giving for pedagogical methods and all. Why not we give it to extension practices and models, and honor and reward for extension service. The best extension student in a university or in a college. Yeah, even Gandhigram, we used to have an award every year in the convocation for every year that a student, we will say he may be from computer science or from health sciences or from engineering, but he must have done this extension, and we have village placement programs and all. So if they have involved and if they have developed some original contribution, we will give them. So that, honor and rewards for this extension services. And finally, I will say, we are going to increase this, GDP for our education system to 6%. If that case, extension endowment funds are required. Otherwise, the quality programs cannot come up. Many of them, they say that we do not have the transport. We do not have the money to take the students for an extension program, or if they want to stay. So this extension endowment funds are needed, and extension as a criteria in the university accreditation and ranking. This is missing because we give more importance to research. And even I say that even in that indicators, that as a criterion, it comes at the third criterion, it goes, most of the weightage goes to research collaboration, and only sometime when we are not able to give some marks to extension to research and collaboration, we look into their extension program. That should go. So whenever we are bringing a NAC or any national accrediting system or ranking system, and even any international ranking of the universities or colleges, we should bring this extension, etc. Even I will suggest, why not we rank the universities on the basis of extension, the best in the world, and in that order. We can bring out that also, right? Because it is becoming a composite and it is giving a very, very narrow rank or weightage there. Instead of that, we can save extension if we have the endowment funds and if we have the system properly and accreditation and ranking practices in the field of extension. Thank you very much. And if there are some questions, I will take it up. I think it is time. Thank you, all the participants. Thank you.